Hello and welcome to HydraCollectables, where we let our geek flag fly. My name's Luke and I'm your host, and today, even though I don't think it needs it, I'm going to defend Masters of the Universe Revelations. Okay guys, before we get too into this, here is your one and only spoiler warning. There are spoilers ahead for the entire first half of this season. That's episodes 1 to 5. So please, heed that warning. If you haven't already seen the show, go and watch it and come back here to see this review. So why listen to me? What's my criteria? Well, in all honesty, not much else from the regular Joe. I consider myself to be a Masters of the Universe fan. I of course watched the original series by Filmation, I watched the 2000X series, and I read some of the comics over the years. As well as this, I also collected the toys. Oh yeah, and I've made 1 or 2 videos here. So to begin with, let's address the elephant in the room, the thing that I believe most people hate this series because of. And what reason is that? Well, that reason is Kevin Smith and his supposed lies. To be honest, I believe that the word lie is a very strong word here. Kevin is an entertainer. He wants to please. Yeah, okay, so he is a bit of a showman, but overall he's just like us. He's just like any other fan, any other person. He gets a little excited. Still, with that being said, I'm not here to defend the man. You either like him or you don't. So for most people, if it's not the whole Kevin Smith thing, it's the fact that He-Man himself doesn't appear all that much within this show. And to be honest, that's absolutely true. But let's be honest, most of us knew that from the start. Heck, they even dropped his name from the main title, so was it really a shock? But Luke, why can't boys have a strong male role model to follow? Well, hello? Did we not watch the same show? We have Man-at-Arms, Roboto, Orko, all these other characters that are really strong male characters in this show. And to be fair, within these 5 episodes, we see them quite a lot. But Luke, if we wanted a strong female lead, why don't we just watch She-Ra? Okay, sure, yeah, I give you that one. You can of course go and watch She-Ra. But let me ask you this, what's wrong with continuing Teela's story? Teela was, and still is, an absolute badass, and has so much untouched potential from that original Filmation show. She's the daughter of the sorceress, meant for great things, and an ally to He-Man as well as the protector of Eternia. So yeah, anybody who actually knows the franchise already knows that Teela, of all people, is actually a key player within this universe. She is a main character, whether it be the comics, the Filmation series, the 2000X, or even this one that we are watching now. And while we're on the subject, what really is the problem with having a strong female lead for a non-gender specific show? After all, take a look at shows such as Buffy, Dark Angel, Alias, Doll's House, the list goes on, and these shows were non-gender specific, both fans were boys and girls. And so with that in mind, what makes this one any different? Okay Luke, well if they believed in the female lead so much, why wasn't Teela in wave 1 of the figures? Now I'm not going to say that you don't have a point with this one. This is true, Teela is indeed one of the main characters, and we knew this from the synopsis, we knew this from the start. However, she wasn't included in that first wave of action figures, and to be honest, had she have been included in that first wave of action figures, most of us probably wouldn't have bought them. However, one thing that I will say, as soon as I watched this show, the first thing I did was jump online to see where I could pre-order my Teela figure, because I think this show puts her in that whole new light, that whole new level. Now of course, the big sellers within that original wave were always going to be He-Man and Skeletor. They will always sell. Moss Man was a very unique release, after all, him being the first non-flocked version of said character. And then of course we have Evil Lynn, who in my opinion stole the show. I loved every scene that she was in, and she was included in that first wave. I think overall what is important here isn't the gender or the characters that are put up front in a new series like this. I understand that people loved He-Man and they wanted to see more of him, and to be fair, the trailers did kind of mislead us ever so slightly. But let's be honest, we knew all the rest of the stuff. We knew from the leaks, we knew from the synopsis that that wasn't entirely what we were going to get. And to be honest, I'm okay with it. The main thing here that's important when you're writing a good story is that the audience are able to put themselves in the character's shoes. And with a character such as Teela, I really can put myself in her position. After all, who here hasn't been left out amongst a group of friends, not knowing a secret that everyone else knows? Something important that I want to mention to you guys that I think a lot of people don't truly understand. We hear so often from people that their favourite show has been ruined, their childhood has been ruined, and that is not the case. Nothing has been taken from you, only more has been added. Whether you dislike this, whether you love it, it doesn't take away from the memories that you have from the original. And whether or not you choose to see this as a complete continuation, or if you want to see it as its own separate thing, that's okay too. After all, we're currently living in a world with Marvel and multiverses and everything else, that this doesn't actually have to be part of that overall story. You can look at it as a completely standalone thing that is just over here, keeping your original safe. So with all that defense out of the way, let's take a look at some of the things that I personally absolutely loved, the things that really sold me on this series. First of all, one of the main things that I really missed from the 2000X series, Cringer speaks. I was so excited to see this in that original trailer for the series before it aired, and I was so much more excited to see it actually in the show. It's been a long while since we saw Cringer, and for me personally, he has always been my favourite of the Masters of the Universe franchise. Next, I want to talk about Mossman. The Mossman death really hit home. That's when I knew that this show was going to be something special. It happened so early on and happened so quickly, I was just taken aback in shock. Moving on, I want to mention how cool it was to see Beastman and the other henchmen of Skeletor no longer being portrayed as dim-witted or stupid. Now, of course, in the 2000X line, they actually made these characters a bit more monstrous, a bit more meaningful. But yeah, once again, it was really good to see them taken a lot more serious. And yeah, Beastman was really cool. After the shocking death of Mossman, we had Orko's sad death. This one for me really hit home. Orko was always the light-hearted comic relief of that original Filmation series, and seeing him after this time jump, seeing that the magic being sucked from Eternia was actually slowly weakening and killing him, was really hard to see as a fan of the original franchise and character. But yeah, that little guy was really cool, and the fact that he has always been the underdog and then sacrificed himself to save his friends, it just meant so much to me to see. And I'm not gonna lie, I was holding back those tears. Another sad death was of course Roboto achieving true AI sentience right before his death. What a sad but loving way to go. Now yes, I know that a lot of these points that I'm saying actually made the show for me are some of the saddest moments, but to me that was what was so impactful. This is like 30 years in the making. I already know and love these characters, so seeing them come to these ends really hit me on an emotional level, and therefore elevated the show in a whole new light. But something that I do want to mention was the scene stealer of every episode, or at least to me anyway, and that of course was Evil Lynn. I really loved this character. I loved the way that she was portrayed. I think the voice acting was perfect. If those of you who don't know, this was the actress that plays Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones, amongst other things of course. And yeah, I absolutely loved this portrayal of the character. So Evil Lynn really did steal the show for me. And yeah, once again, I rushed online to buy her action figure. So I wanted to make this video because, frankly, there's just a lot of hate for this series. Whether it was before the show even aired with all the different leaked information, or whether it's now when the show has just been out for a mere few hours. And yeah, people are still hating on it. And I don't think that's fair. And my biggest concern is that with all this hate, it's going to harm the franchise. And I really hope it doesn't, because this is a really well made, put together show. The toy line is fantastic so far. Granted, I do have my issues with the overall frame and build of both He-Man and Skeletor, but the Battle Cat, the Evil Lynn, the Mossman, the Teela figure that Sarah Michelle Gellar showed on her Instagram, all of these things just scream brilliance. And yeah, I want more. Now, anyone that knows anything about the toy industry know that this is the most pivotal time of the year. This is when a lot of these toy companies look to see what they're going to stock for Christmas time. And so, yeah, if they're seeing all this negativity surrounding this show, they may not want to stock Masters of the Universe within their store at Christmas. And that, my friends, is going to be a big mistake. We need more He-Man toys. So yeah, that's my 2 cents towards the defense of the Masters of the Universe Revelations on Netflix. So yeah, I've seen a lot of hate for this show, but please, you're perfectly entitled to dislike the show, providing that you've actually seen it. Give it a go, give it a watch. It's 5 episodes. They're 20 minutes each. It's less than a film. You're talking about an hour and 40 odd minutes. Definitely give it a watch. It's well worth it. If you agree with me and love this show, or even if you didn't, please comment down below. Put a little spoiler warning so anyone reading through the comments can see. I'd like to know what you liked, what you disliked, and what you hope for in the upcoming 5 episodes that are still to come. And with that, I'm signing off, and until next time, I'll see you in another life. Take care.